Yes, guys. Welcome back to Nuclear Reaction Faction. I consulted with the paramedic, who then referred me to a psychiatrist, and apparently I'm ready for another 20 minutes of Daniel Larson, but no longer. Otherwise, I might have a brain hemorrhage.
He's about to get exposed for it. Case in point, within 24 hours, he made a post to his YouTube community claiming that he'd found another Grace Vanderwall impersonator, showing his conversation with this troll on Discord. However, he only shows the last few messages. Soon after this, the rest of his exchanges get revealed to the public. And
oh no, I remember this left off. So, just for context, Daniel Larson, he is in love with this underage skater chick. And he's like been obsessed with her since she was like 8 or something crazy like that. So because like she's the key to his heart. That's what the trolls really play on. So they pretend to be her, and he falls for it every time, hook, line, and sinker. And they get him to do some really like compromising things. Usually I wouldn't really find it funny. One, because it involves like underage stuff, but two, like also because like it's kind of bullying. But because it involves the former, I'm willing to forgive the latter, because like, you know, he's a creep, so whatever. But like it's I remember where this kicked off, like where this left off last time, and I'm not looking forward to it, guys. Just like hold your stomach.
stuff of nightmares. The prints begin with Daniel saying Grace looks like she could milk, and after specifically choosing an underage picture of her to send, Daniel says he has a liking to, let's keep calling it milk for monetization purposes, and piss. Then asks if she feels like her groin is getting pulled out, punctuating these messages with, like a cow, moo. He also often pontificated about how certain things would smell, and I'm struggling to believe this is a real person at this point. It seems like he believes stimulating the bladder plays some role in the reproductive act and keeps using the word ache to describe what the person in question would feel during
What books has this guy been reading?
it.
Like medical texts from like the 17th century.
As much as it's disturbing, it's also just confusing. After all this back and forth, Daniel says he feels like his relationship with Grace is like Romeo and Juliet. If this were the case, instead of it ending with the couple drinking poison, it'd be everyone else doing it, so they wouldn't have to witness Daniel's stuff anymore. The 4th of February is a very busy day for Daniel. For whatever reason, he decides to put all of his belongings into a bag and start a stream, threatening to throw the bag off of a cliff. Except when he does throw it, it audibly immediately hits the ground. Upon geolocating where he was during the recording, it's obviously not a cliff, meaning he immediately retrieved the bag as soon as the stream ended. Just 2 days later, the bag comes back into play as Daniel addresses the images that had been circling his name, where social media accounts representing entities like the LAPD were claiming Daniel's bag contained an IED and an unspecified firearm. How and why exactly these came about is mostly unknown, but based on what we can see in Daniel's video addressing it, someone did convince the police to pay a visit to him while he was at a restaurant. He describes it as a raid involving multiple cop cars, but knowing Daniel, that's probably an exaggeration. The next meaningful activity happens on the 10th when he went live with his new management, meaning a new group of trolls who worked their way into his circle of trust. First, they seem to be your regular run-of-the-mill guys, getting Daniel to say goofy things, such as what he would do at a BLM rally.
What would you do at a Black Lives Matter rally, Daniel?
I mean, run for my life.
However, his streaming with the trolls was a grave mistake, as it allowed the people watching the stream to figure out that for the past few days, he'd been sleeping in the Planet Fitness bathroom. Without skipping a beat, they figured out which particular Planet Fitness he was squatting at and alerted them to his whereabouts. An altercation between Daniel, an employee, and a client ensued, with Daniel refusing to leave.
You need to leave.
I told you to leave the men's restroom.
I literally have to kick you out. You have to go.
This guy, yeah, he gets kicked out of everywhere. He's just like, sorry, excuse me. Just gotta move my chair. So he gets kicked out of everywhere, yeah. He acts as if it's like, he sort of tries to gaslight the proprietors, yeah, into thinking that it's like they're the ones in the wrong and they should leave him alone and go away. It's like it's masterful, like, except it fails.
Don't even call me that. You called me a f***er, okay? You called me a coward. Well, what's your name?
You don't even know my name. Let's go.
Yes, because I'm gonna file reports for calling me like names and.
Well, there's more
It's
than
not
enough
a law
footage showing
against
how
that,
irate
bro.
Daniel becomes when called things such as a coward and yellow belly. Video
That's not. You got no legal precedent there. What are you gonna do? Tell your primary school
Of
teacher?
him conceding and leaving the gym is noticeably absent. Maybe this is because he purposely didn't record himself leaving because he felt it was embarrassing, or maybe he did and we just don't have the footage for whatever reason. Either way, this incident is immediately followed up by this bombastic little statement.
Since I've now been kicked out of 35 different Planet Fitnesses, I am now declaring war.
Oh no! When Daniel says that, he's about to say the most unhinged stuff ever. Like I'm pretty sure he actually got in trouble with the Secret Service for threatening something on Washington.
You'll be blown up soon.
First off, 35 different Planet Fitnesses. I'm assuming he got banned from all of the other 34 for the same reasons, which means not only is he a serial dine and dasher, but also a squatter. Secondly, can you even say things like that, legally speaking? I know that the First Amendment covers a lot of stuff, but threatening to bomb establishments? Not so sure about that. It's been said that on the same day he got kicked out of an unspecified shopping center, but I haven't been able to find info on that. Though, if the Planet Fitness he got banned from was in a shopping center, these bans are probably related. On the 13th, he gets on a bus to Las Vegas somehow, which mystifies me considering he has no money. His managers and sporadic sympathizers must be sending him money through the thousands of Cash App accounts he has. A day later, he finds himself in an almost identical situation as the Planet Fitness incident, but this time it went a little differently. Instead of a friendly neighborhood Planet Fitness, Daniel tried to squat in the bathroom of a casino in Vegas, and the security guards weren't half as patient or willing to argue with a clearly disheveled and homeless Danderson. At around 2 a.m., once he had already been successfully ousted from the place by two gentlemen who reacted to his insanity in the appropriate manner, he did what he does best: play the victim.
Walk.
I was just trying to
Walk.
I was just trying to use the goddamn f***ing bathroom.
Walk. Come on, just walk.
I will kill myself.
This is yet another instance of Daniel going on the record, threatening to do something drastic when he doesn't get his way. You gotta wonder how many times he's already pulled this routine on his caretakers and Bob when there was no one watching. Later on, he begins heavily zooming into a small, bloody bruise on his finger to highlight how brutal the security was with him, and if that wasn't enough, he accuses them of sexual harassment.
Whoa! For a start, I bet he injured his finger himself. He was planning to do the whole hand or arm against a brick wall or something. Got to his finger, was like, actually no, they just injured my finger, and then I just don't believe anything that comes out of his mouth, man.
Security at that hotel right across the street sexually tried to harass me.
Who would do that to you, though? I don't understand.
The person he's talking to while he makes these accusations is a park guard who proceeds to realize that Daniel is some kind of insane bum and tells him the area is closed and that he needs to leave, which Daniel fails to do as he's caught up in this nonsensical ranting and raving. According to the Larsonian lore, either this same day or in a very close window of time, some follower of his paid for a hotel room for him to stay through the night, and Daniel tried to talk a drunk couple into paying for another hotel room after picking up the coins that fell out of the woman's purse, to no avail. Apparently, after his casino incident, Daniel has been banned from all MGM casinos and has his biometric info in their database as—
Whoa! Do they have his fingerprints or his iris? Or like his facial, is it like facial recognition or what? But can you imagine being homeless in Las Vegas, yeah? Don't get me wrong, I've never been to Vegas or even America, yeah? But like, I can imagine being homeless in somewhere where like people are just spunking money left, right and centre would be quite depressing. I've been homeless anyway, but I wouldn't want to be homeless in Vegas, dude.
For a Reddit user who happened to work graveyard shifts at a casino. Another addition to this never-ending cascade of negative events surrounding Daniel is that apparently his eyesight is decaying and fast. As of now, he has to squint to be able to see clearly. Within a day, he tries his hand at sleeping at yet another casino, but this time he gets caught much quicker and is swiftly dealt with.
Why would you, like, casinos just seems like the last place to go to. Like, why a casino? I don't understand. Like, I don't get it.
Negative event.
Is it because there's so much foot traffic and so much going on that he like feels safe? I don't know.
Surrounding Daniel is that apparently his eyesight is decaying and fast. As of now, he has to squint to be able to see clearly.
Yeah, welcome to the club, brother.
Within a day, he tries his hand at sleeping at yet another casino, but this time he gets caught much quicker and is swiftly dealt with.
You are trespassed. You can never come back here again.
For literally just sitting here and watching the game.
For sleeping 3 times, that's why.
I wasn't
Are you going to
sleeping
leave?
though. I wasn't sleeping
Are you
though.
going to leave or are you going to be arrested?
I will. But
Okay.
I'm just trying to get my message across. I was not sleeping.
Look, the problem with Daniel is he doesn't realize that no one cares. Like, the only reason people care about him is because he's a lol cow. Like, no one cares about, like, and every time he kicks up a fuss, like, no one cares what he's saying. No one actually, like, is listening to him because they know he's chatting nonsense, yeah? It's just the trolls want to see the nonsense, so they encourage it.
I was watching the game. Just because I closed my eyes for like a
Okay,
second.
look, no more conversations. Walk out the door.
Yeah, but you guys want us to spread lies about me.
Oh my
No, we're not
word.
spreading anything. We're not going to even have a conversation anymore. All you got to do is leave the building.
Why am I being trespassed?
We already said it a million times.
Let's go. I'm gonna.
All right, then I'll leave. You guys are like lying about everything.
At least he didn't have a moment in this
After all
one.
of this ruckus, Daniel claims he will be doing a 2-hour live stream, which never came to fruition, as for a brief period, Daniel actually went missing in action. People immediately started worrying, fearing he would go the way of Terry Davis while unsupervised by his online troll handlers. It's kind of ironic because, on one hand, the trolls are the cause of all of his misery. They constantly mock him, bait him into saying horrible things, and they love watching the horrible behavior. But at the same time, these are the only people watching over him, keeping track of his location, seeing what he's doing.
That's a sad dichotomy there, man. That is a sad, sad dichotomy.
15th, a post was made to the Las Vegas subreddit showing Daniel as a missing person. Someone replied to the post saying, "I left for work yesterday at about 7 a.m., so there was practically no one on the strip. Saw the ambulance in front of Crack Shack, and they were lifting someone onto a gurney over the small barrier and up into the ambulance. They looked annoyed, and I wondered why they were even taking this person away because he just looked like a standard homeless person to me. You could tell the guy was mouthing off. The hair and face in the post immediately caught my eye. It was the guy being put in the ambulance." Daniel's subreddit erupted in concern, and along with it, there were many claimed sightings, but nothing really concrete. One of the few pieces of footage of someone claiming they saw Daniel in the wild came from a TikTok user named Trudy Parker1, who posted this video and adamantly maintained that the person walking away was Daniel. And yeah, it does really look like him. And to further support this is the fact that he was roaming in the vicinity of a cheesecake factory, one of his natural habitats at this point. However,
You can tell by the walk as well.
this sighting happened on the 16th, and for the next 5 days, no one had any news from Daniel. Some began to believe he'd broken his phone, which would be a death sentence, as despite many people occasionally paying for his food and transportation, a phone was a tad more expensive than what his following was comfortable with subsidizing. On the 22nd, Daniel was seen once again, this time completely bald and erratically skulking on the side of the road. According to the person who shared this clip, Daniel had just been kicked out of a bus for refusing to pay the fare, was wearing the same clothes he'd been wearing for the previous 8 days, and apparently still had his phone, but it was either dead or broken. A day went by, and during the afternoon of the 23rd, Daniel resurfaced triumphantly on a new TikTok account, Daniel Larson LV, for Las Vegas. In his comeback video, he says 2 fans of his approached him while he was at a casino and got him some food. Once they had his trust and his defenses were down, one of them took a swing at Daniel from behind, knocked him down, and stole his phone, allegedly fracturing his skull so bad it would take up to half a year to heal. Well,
Okay, that's not cool. Like, that's not cool. Like, I know, like, he's done some horrible things, yeah, but like, what is it? What's that expression? Like, you don't fight fire with fire. You can't really be beating this poor lad up, man. Look at the size of him. You'll kill him or something.
it's assumed that he's lying about parts of this story, such as fans of his being responsible for it. It also seems like he's not entirely lying. Some people on Reddit had said they saw him getting into an ambulance, which would fit his story of having gone to the hospital to get his skull checked. In his downtime, probably due to the hospital noticing Daniel was mentally challenged and homeless, Daniel secured almost $400 in monthly food stamps and housing from a company called Sober Homes.
That's pretty cool. Like, let's be honest, yeah. That the last thing Daniel needs right now is a severe head concussion, like, to add on top of all his other troubles, because he's just gonna get more and more unhinged, man. Like, he needs to be medicated, bro. I've got bipolar too. I don't have autism as well, but I've got bipolar, and you need to be medicated, bro. Like, otherwise, this is what happens. Like not the. There's a lot of stuff that isn't down to that, but like the crazy, like, belligerent behavior, that's definitely mania.
As soon as Daniel's eyes once again met with the hypnotic blue light of a smartphone screen, the veil of delusion swept him up from his grimy reality and back into his fantasies. Suddenly, his story about being robbed turned into being attacked by Grace Vanderwaal's ex-boyfriend, who was mad at him for having stolen her heart. The next few days were peaceful, with a few videos that were uploaded being mundane things, such as him waiting for a tram and attending attending a free concert. However, on the 27th, he once again became homeless because apparently Sober Homes, or Sober Homies as Daniel prefers to say, was expecting him to pay rent, which is obviously very unfair.
Okay, everyone, I have terrible news. So, Sober Homies did kick me out of their service. I did not have enough money to pay for the rent.
His TikTok account from this period is now gone, and consequently, the videos aren't exactly easy to find. What has been documented in text form is that during his Sober Homies exile, Daniel posted about 50 videos spanning multiple topics. In these, he claimed he was now trying to contact housing companies in California and Colorado, and that unfortunately, this would prevent him from having a girlfriend or a job. Not that he could get either in the first place, as he immediately follows this up by saying that the places he applies to for a job are blackmailing him, which I take he actually meant as blackballing, and they won't hire him due to his reputation. He also explains that he made $30,000 off of donations in the past year, which would get him in trouble with the disability services, but he doesn't care too much about that. Not only did he expect to continue being homeless for the months to come, but he also said that believing that he isn't disabled has actually improved him mentally. In his addled state, Daniel randomly pivots to Bob and starts lying about being on a phone call with him, claiming that Bob apologized and told Daniel that the state needs to get him housing or he'll buy a gun. It's always when there's an inkling of pity for Daniel that he says things like that. I'm willing to bet that the only reason he hasn't assaulted more people is because on some level, he knows he wouldn't get away with it. After all, he felt comfortable attacking Bob, a senior citizen. If Daniel ever got his hands on a gun, God forbid, there's a very decent chance he'll end up taking someone's life. After posting a video indicating he's once again being tricked into thinking he's talking to Grace, he eats a meal at Dave & Buster's, which he obviously can't pay for.
He's never once spoke to Grace, yeah? Like, not once has he ever actually spoken to this lass he's obsessed with, yeah? Like, the only time he's had any even close to interaction with her was her mum telling him to just lay off because he's being a creep.
Daniel ever got his hands on a gun, God forbid, there's a very...
Oh, yeah, and she was pretty nice about it as well. She was, like, giving him advice, telling him, look, these people that you think are Grace are just trolls. Don't listen to them. They want a rise out of you, blah, blah, blah. She was actually being surprisingly nice considering that he was obsessing over her underage daughter.
Things like that. I'm willing to bet that the only reason he hasn't assaulted more people is because on some level, he knows he wouldn't get away with it. After all, he felt comfortable attacking Bob, a senior citizen. If Daniel ever got his hands on a gun, God forbid, there's a very decent chance he'll end up taking someone's life.
I mean, that is so true. Like, the only thing, if Daniel Larson come at me with a gun, the only thing that would give me any sort of comfort is the idea that he wouldn't be able to handle the kickback or even lift up the gun properly with his skinny little arms and hold it right. Like, I'd be more afraid if he was aiming for someone behind himself rather than me. Like, I'd be more afraid that the bullet was going to hit me then.
After posting a video indicating he's once again being tricked into thinking he's talking to Grace, he eats a meal at Dave & Buster's, which he obviously can't pay for, so he dine and dashes, which gets him kicked out from not only the restaurant, but also the entire mall. In the videos following, it becomes clearer why he started talking about Bob again. The trolls are simultaneously pretending to be Bob and Grace.
Oh,
this is
dear.
crazy. Why am I getting a message?
It is crazy.
Grace Vanderwall is in downtown Las Vegas right now trying to find me. Bob literally just ignored me when I called him and said, ask Grace for security. Grace Vanderwall, I need your help. Message me immediately.
He's not...
I'm in danger.
He's not once spoke to her. She doesn't even... Like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? Like... He is absolutely deluded.
Again, he began asking people online to pay for his meal, but I guess he felt embarrassed about it, so he lied about having $200 in his Cash App, and the only reason he couldn't pay for his meal was that his debit card randomly got locked. He didn't keep this particular charade going for very long, as shortly after, he admits to only having $10 in his bank, and asks for $30 so the restaurant doesn't call the cops on him. In the last post in this series, he's frantically saying he needs Grace's help and is in danger, and we can see the reason for his desperation. The fog is back, and has slowly begun to consume his frontal camera again. On the 28th, he gets in trouble in yet another establishment, but this time in an even funnier way. It seems that he'd been sleeping in the bathroom of a bar for an unspecified amount of time, and he didn't get thrown out, but instead got the equivalent equivalent of a soft block. In the video he posted about it, he was complaining that upon leaving his improvised crypt in the bar's bathroom, he was ordering things, and the employees were leading him on as if his orders were being prepared while they evidently weren't. Daniel, of course, was fuming about this, not only because he didn't get to eat for free, but they also refused to aggressively throw him out, which would then give him the opportunity to play the victim again. They simply called the cops on him, and when they asked them why, they said they didn't know. A genius move on their part. He also seems to be developing some kind of paranoid disorder, as he seems to believe 2 of the employees have been following him around, but it's not really certain what he meant by that. Archives of this day become even more scant, not only because the account was deleted, but during that time he temporarily had his account privated due to his new phone number leaking, which limited the number of people getting to see what he uploaded. According to vigilant Larsonians, he showed his bank balance at negative $200, meaning he had pretty aggressively overdrafted. After denying claims that he'd gotten some TikTok celebrity pregnant, he went live, which we do have footage of. It appears that Daniel was under the impression that Grace and her team would join the stream due to the messages he received, but of course they didn't, and just like that, February ended. On the 1st of March, his TikTok account goes back to being public and is promptly flooded with videos of the nasty scabs all over his body from the scabies. Considering he frequently invades and squats at Planet Fitness, where I know for a fact there has to be like one shower in many of them, if not most of them, why doesn't he just use them and take care of it? After his last doctor visit over his scabies, he was told by the doctor specifically to get new clothes, and though he asked for and got donations to buy new clothes, he kept wearing the same old clothing as always. Another notable thing about the scab videos is that they're recorded in yet another casino, meaning he's not playing it very safe. Next up is a series of rabid TikTok posts in which he talks about Bob again. Initially, he starts railing against Bob for supposedly not helping him with something that Daniel needed in order to secure housing.
This message is for Bob, not contacting the diversion program when they wanted him to be able to help with the housing and court stuff.
It gets pretty confusing to understand what's going on, but from my understanding, it seems that Daniel fell for yet another impersonator and has been talking to them instead of the real Bob. He begins threatening he'll destroy Bob's reputation somehow, and also mentions Bob hasn't helped his career, but makes a caveat that Bob still occasionally helps with other things. In this case, I think Daniel is referring to the real Bob, who still supported Daniel financially in some areas. It's interesting to see that despite that, he still finds a way to complain about it and claim that Bob only helping him in some areas, but not with his career, just makes it worse. The next thing that happened will actually shock you.
Okay, this is an emergency, but I've lost contact with Bob, and Bob will not answer any of my phone calls. Okay, there's an emergency. Bob just fully blocked my number.
Well, there's a chance that he's just trying to call the impersonator. There's also a good chance that he said all of these things about Bob, who became rightfully upset and decided to block him. There's a brief unarchived portion wherein Daniel's paranoia resurfaces, as during another bout of dining and dashing, Daniel begins saying that the people sitting in a booth across from him in the restaurant have been talking about him non-stop for an hour. Things get more cryptic and possibly even dangerous when Daniel talks about a pink Easter egg he's hiding at the restaurant. Soon after, we started getting...
Is that a threat? For like, I don't even want to say the word, a B threat, I don't know.
Clarifications from Daniel about his mysterious statements, as it seems he was planning to buy fireworks and ignite them inside of a casino.
No, you can't do that, my brother. You can't do that. What is up with this guy? He comes up with the weirdest... That's just insane. That's crazy.
Hey, folks, get ready for the biggest incident of all of Daniel Larson history so far. Let's do this.
No.
First of all, dynamite is not the same thing as a bomb threat. Okay, I'm going to go into a casino with a firework, and then I can see how real firing works.
Oh my word, that's not even funny for a start. Like, he seems to be really impressed with that quasi flipping, like, not even a pun. And you're gonna hurt someone if you do this, dude. Like, you can't be letting off fireworks inside a building. That's not cool.
This is one of the strangest Daniel Larson moments so far, don't get me wrong. He's obviously done worse than threatening to blow up a casino with fireworks. However, most of these worst things are done in the patent Larson way. First, he self-righteously does something he knows he's not supposed to do, and then puts on an act where he's now the victim. This time, and only this time, he went all out and embraced the role of a cartoon villain. He truly never ceases to amaze. Nothing happened, as you can imagine. He didn't get fireworks because he doesn't have money to buy them, besides one unarchived video in which Daniel claims to have flooded the toilets in one of these places. Because of his threats, his account got reported, and he made 2 new ones, Daniel Larson NYC and Love Daniel Larson Forever. It's kind of funny the way that a lot of these guys will name their accounts almost as if they're fan accounts. The day ends nonchalantly as Daniel plays pool for almost 25 minutes on his YouTube account. The next day wasn't as nice though, as people were mystified by the facts that despite the 2 new accounts having been freshly created, no videos were going up. Eventually, a post went up on his subreddit saying, as of right now, he is in custody of the LVMPD. He was confirmed arrested and trespassed from a casino last night. I verified this information with their security team and the LVMPD. Do not try to call or interact with anyone in regard to this. Let the professionals handle this. A few hours later, a couple of updates were made to the original post, saying he's likely not yet been charged or booked in any detention centers in Clark County. He was likely sent to a medical facility, but will be transferred to a jail afterward.
Isn't he like actually in jail now? I'm pretty sure.
We will likely know tomorrow. Daniel is not criminally charged and is being treated as a mental health patient, at least a 72-hour hold.
Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Yeah, I think he's finally in jail rather than because he kept going to jail and then getting sent back to mental health facilities and going to jail and back and forth. But I think he's actually finally doing a jail stretch now for like threats of violence. But yeah, you've been locked into Nuclear Reaction Faction. Stay tuned for part 3. Subscribe for more. Check out my other content, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.